the news that is just coming in. India has reacted to the United States Supreme Court order that struck down tariffs imposed by President Trump. We are studying all these developments for their implications, is the reaction that is coming in from India. Pallavi, so they are still studying amidst concern whether it is going to be 18%, whether it is going to be 10%. How will it affect the trade deal?
Well, as the statement very clearly from the Commerce Ministry points out, it's a wait and watch situation, and that is what we have been saying since yesterday. These are very sensitive, delicate times. Frankly speaking, India and government is also looking very closely at what happens in America. The 150 days timeline which has been given for the 10% tariff, after that what is going to happen? What decision will be taken by Donald Trump? There are also going to be midterms which are coming up in America. What impact will it have on the stature and power of Donald Trump? As I said earlier also, and what we picked up from the Commerce Ministry is that there was a pre-scheduled delegation from the Indian side which was supposed to go to Washington on Monday, and this was before the Supreme Court order, where they were going to work out the nitty-gritty of the final deal which would have inked in sometime mid-March. So as of now, that delegation level meeting is very much in place, but a brief, curt, cryptic statement from the Commerce Ministry and the government makes it very clear that they are holding their horses. They're waiting to see at what developments which are taking place, and it's only after that that there will be a coordinated step or strategy to be adopted.
So are the government ministers and functionaries expecting that clarity only when that delegation level meeting happens?
Well, just to make it very clear, the delegation level meeting was a pre-scheduled one. That meeting was supposed to go to Washington any which case. Remember, we've talked about the framework of the Indo-US trade deal. The final deal has not yet been worked upon. It had to be signed sometime in mid-March. The entire idea of the delegation was to go there and stitch up the final picture. As of now, the delegation is still going on schedule, got no connection with the Supreme Court order. That 18% goes down to 10% because that's what Donald Trump has announced. That is what India will have to work upon. On which sectors will that 10% be? What is going to happen after 150 days? What is the status as far as the earlier deal or the framework that we were talking about? So this is something which the government is going to be monitoring very, very closely to see what will be the next step which is going to be taken by the American administration and by the American president.
Pallavi, do hold on. Once again, for our viewers, this is the first reaction that is coming in from India. We are studying all these developments for their implications, is what the government has said after that order from the US Supreme Court. But Pallavi, coming back, like you said, the situation is quite fluid. The statement itself says that, all aspects are being studied at the moment. But opposition is mounting pressure. They're demanding answers from the government. Do you see that clarity coming in anytime soon? Because the next half of the parliament session is also, a couple of weeks away.
Well, obviously, the opposition parties are going to make this a big issue. Today itself, we reported that Jairam Ramesh did, at an interaction with the media, make 2 points. One, of course, is that the deal will have to be scratched completely. It has to be put on a hold. He also made a reference to one of the points which was there in the framework which had been worked upon between India and America. And in that framework, there's one particular clause which talks about a situation in case this deal doesn't go through ahead as far as the many nuances are concerned. That provision mentions the fact that one of the two parties then can decide on the final shape of the deal. That is what Jairam Ramesh said, that India should take advantage of that clause and work out the combinations of the final shape of the deal. So the pressure will certainly come in from the Congress party. The Congress is already planning nationwide protests against the earlier Indo-US nuclear trade deal. And come the 9th of March, when the parliament session reconvenes, the budget session, once again that pressure will mount on the Prime Minister. Did you buckle under pressure? Who forced you to sign this deal? And what happens next?
Pallavi Ghosh, will depend on you to get us more clarity. Thank you so much for joining us. India says that they are studying all aspects of the latest development that has happened as far as US Supreme Court order on tariff is concerned.